You don't know, man.
Well, good evening, Bethany family. We are back. The recap team is back, and we are already cutting up behind the scenes. I just miss these faces on the screen each and every Monday. You know, we took a week off, but it felt like it was like a month, right?
Yeah,
It
it felt
felt
like a
like
long
it.
time. I feel like I
It
haven't
felt like
stretched
it was
in a
a
long
long
time.
time. But we want to welcome you guys on in and join us as we recap this Sunday sermon that we were blessed with. As I always do, let me introduce this amazing panel. We have Sister Maya, our social media director, Maximize Monday. She is the one that's working hard behind the scenes, and she's the one that keeps us in line as well. You guys don't get to see that. One day you're going to see. I'm going to record it. I'm going to show you.
No, I don't know what you're talking about, Kevin.
Quiet on the set. And next we have Rev. Rev White. I gotta get some water. Rev White with us, who is no stranger to the panel, to our recap. You know, he comes and drops his gems. He has, you know, his chalkboard in the back with the reversal, revival, and restoration. You know, he brings his own energy to the panel. We are so appreciative of him. Welcome back, Rev.
Good to see y'all. Good to see y'all.
And then under me, I have my partner in crime, my shade partner. You know, we are the dynamic duo. We are the turtleneck twins today.
We're going to talk about it, but okay. I love you guys.
I love that. Sister Des. And then next to Sister Des, we have Deacon McGee. I can't even get it out. Des, you get on my nerves. We have Deacon Antoine McGee. We are so appreciative of this panel each and every Monday at 5:30. And if you guys do not know, my name is Brother Kevin Johnson. You know, and before we get into everything, like I said, we skipped last week because of MLK. You know, we had to celebrate that holiday. But, you know, there was so much that happened during this time that we were away from you guys. But one thing in particular that we definitely want to shout out today, it is our 69th birthday for our bishop. Happy birthday, Bishop. I know you are tuning in. I know you are watching. We love you, Bishop. You know, I think we should definitely give him the happy birthday. So, you know, I want everyone in the comments to make sure you're saying happy birthday, Bishop. Show him a lot of love. You know, as you guys are saying happy birthday, let somebody know it's Bishop's birthday. Go spam his page and say happy birthday. Send him the balloon emojis, the heart emojis, the hand emoji, whatever you have to do. Show Bishop, because we definitely want to celebrate him. We definitely did celebrate him last night at 6 p.m. We had a special broadcast that, you know, just a lot of different birthday shout outs to Bishop. So we want to encourage you guys to continue to, you know, even though the month is towards the end and, you know, we are at the beginning of this week, we want you to flood those happy birthdays throughout the week on all of our broadcasts, especially Word Impact on Wednesday. Let him know how much we love him. We truly appreciate his leadership during this time. It has been a blessing to have a strong leader to keep us encouraged and keep all these things moving as the church is, you know, physically closed, but still open virtually. We are so grateful for his leadership, and we love you, Bishop. I love you, B. And we wish you nothing but many, many more blessings. And, you know, I know he's just smiling right now. You know, he does his little wave. But we love you, Bishop. So, guys, I encourage you guys to please, on each panel, whenever you see Bishop on point this Saturday, you see him, Word Impact, the encounter next week, just flood him with the happy birthdays, because I know that he will love that. If you guys don't know, I am a big birthday person. When it's your birthday, I feel like I feel like you should feel like a celebrity on that day. So when anyone's birthday comes up, I always get excited for them like it's my birthday. So I want you guys to have that same celebration and excitement for Bishop, right?
Yeah.
How you guys feeling? You know, I didn't even get the chance to say, ask you guys, how you guys feeling today? How's everything going?
I'm good, man.
Good
No
day.
sleepy, but I'm cool.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. You
It's
know, it's
cold
a little cold.
out.
Right. I was gonna say it's a little cold out today, a little
Yeah.
chilly. I think we're expected some snow later tonight or something like that.
1
I
o'clock.
don't think it's gonna come.
Oh, okay. Well, you know, that reminds me, wherever you guys are tuning into, we want you guys to let us know where you're tuning in from. Let us know what the weather's like right now. If you're tuning in from up north, down south, across the world, we want to let you guys know that we're so appreciative of you guys tuning in and joining with us. Like we say each and every each and every week, we encourage you guys, we invite you guys into the comments as we, answer the questions and recap this sermon. We want you guys to ask questions as well. And we want to hear what your comments were about this sermon, because this sermon, it woke up a lot of stuff, a lot of eyebrows were raised this Sunday. So we want to hear what you guys thought about this weekend's sermon, and where you're tuning in from. Let us know, and also make sure that you are sharing the content. Oh my gosh, we are still in Transformation Lives Month, even though this is like officially like the last week of January, which January went like that. But we
literally,
so we still want you guys to tune in, share, as well as tag at least 3 people in all the broadcasts from Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Let them all know what we're doing here at Bethany as we continue to, feed you with all this great content. Ada, I see that you are in Orlando.
So
You're
jealous.
enjoying that beautiful weather down there in Orlando. Now, see, I will say, I can't, as much as, Florida's beautiful state and everything, I can't see myself staying in a state where it's like relatively warm most of the year, because I have to have a little chill. How about you guys?
I mean, I like experiencing spring and fall.
Yeah, I like experiencing all this season,
keep it
right?
there, not winter.
Oh, we have someone tuning in from Los Angeles, LA.
Hey.
Hello, Paula.
How much is gas out there?
Listen.
Yo, that's so random.
We want to thank you for tuning in, Paula. I love when we have Bethany family that tune in from all over the world. It's just an incredible feeling, right? Just how social media can keep you guys connected. Oh, Antoine, is he frozen or is he still laughing?
That's what he gets.
No, that would be hilarious if he just held that the whole time.
That's like, wait, is he still laughing?
We'll take him down.
we are still cutting it. We're having a good time. But no, thank you guys for all tuning in all over the world as we get to recap this word, right? So, gas is surprisingly reasonably priced. Hey, Ash, I see you, Ash.
Hey, Ashley.
I miss you, Ash. I feel like I haven't seen you so long. So, we are about to get into this word, another segment, another piece of, another layer, like I always say, to this pie, this cake that Bishop is, making with this shift the needle, right? And, this, yes, Deacon Antoine, we are talking trash. It would not be the shake not, right? Hey, Keefe, I see you tuning in. But, here he is. Hey, good sir.
Hey.
We're back here in our presence.
I heard y'all the whole time. Go ahead.
That was them, not me.
You see how that's like, you know what? We have to have a conversation after this.
Let's get to the word, because I ain't got time for them.
Right. So Bishop is currently in this series called Shift the Needle. And as we are learning each week, each layer is just preparing us for this year. Like he said in the beginning of the series, that January is a foundational month to set up this year. And I feel like, this is just my opinion, that I feel like the Shift the Needle series is really teaching us and preparing us for what's to come in this year and how to prepare ourselves, especially coming out of 2020 and everything that we experienced. We've learned so many things and we've experienced so many things throughout last year. And I just feel like this series in particular is just really laying the foundation for, what's to come in the coming months. What do you guys think? We are in this official last week of this month, and we've been in this series for a month now. So out of this whole month, like, what has the Shift the Needle series been doing for you? Like mentally, because I know each series, it always has me thinking, he's always in my backyard, Bishop's always in my backyard, but he also makes me think of other people that are connected to me and stuff like that. So what do you guys feel about this Shift the Needle series thus far?
No, I agree. It's definitely setting the foundation for how the rest of the year, hopefully will go. And I'm a firm believer that, how you start is how you finish. And it starts from the head down. So like making God that priority, and sowing your seed and whatnot, like that will set up the rest of the year.
Yeah.
So no, I love the series that we're in now.
Awesome.
I did definitely like a set it off type of moment. You know, it's like from the year that we have exited, 2020, this is definitely the perfect kickoff to go like, okay, we've seen these things that have happened. We've overcome them. This is how we're going to get better and keep growing. So I'm definitely here for it. And I'm really excited to see how he continues to move in this series and how whatever series come after this and how it just continues, like you said, make a cake, continues to grow. So
I like that. I like that. Deacon, Ref.
Wait for me.
Yeah, either or.
You grinning. Go ahead.
I mean, most of the messages always mess with my head, but this one is allowing me to have perspective and to put things in the right order, in the right place, and checking where God's not first at.
Yeah.
That's what the biggest thing is. It's a heart check. Okay, is God first in this area? No. Okay, let me put him first here, and the steps of putting him first, because it's not easy to put him first all the time, because we're so used to wanting to do things our way. So
yeah, I like that. I like that, Ref.
Yeah, I'm aligned with everything that everyone has said here. As Antoine said, though, and I'll challenge him a bit on that. Just as easy as it is to not put God first,
right,
is as easy as it is to put God first, right? If we start with a very conscious act in the morning, in the evening, through the day, of just having a conversation. We were doing this seminar last week, and I talked about intent, behavior, and impact. And you can apply it to conversations, you can apply it to work, but I was just sitting here thinking you can apply it to God. If I allow my intent, if my intent is to be in communication with God, that's going to drive my behavior, and then that's going to impact my life in a way that it should. If my intent is to do what I want to do, that's going to drive my behavior.
Yes.
This is going to impact my life in the way that I've seen it impact my life.
Right.
So you have to be intentional about some things. And just as easy as it is not to be, we can be. We all been there, right? When you've had that connection and you know that you're in tune with what God has, and then when you haven't been.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like that. See why we love having Rev up here all the time. We bring his knowledge. And Rev, you did such an amazing job last week. If you guys are entrepreneurs and you guys are looking to start a business, I encourage you guys to please go back and stream the business panel that we had last Thursday with our very own Rev White, who did an amazing job with the discussion last week. I encourage you guys to please go back and stream that, especially if you have been, some business has been burst up in your spirit through this time. I think a lot of us are becoming creative during this time, and you have to know where to start, and you laid that foundation for us, sir. So we truly appreciate that. You did an amazing job. So guys, please go back and watch that.
Well, praise God. We all have a gift, and as Bishop's been teaching us, we all have a purpose. And if we can marry that gift with the purpose, boom, and that thing can just explode.
I love that. So, as I said, Bishop is continuing the Shift the Needle series, and he titled this series in particular "Choose." Right, and when Bishop does this titles, you'd be like, "Oh my gosh, Bishop, this one word title, like, oh my, now what you about to talk about?" Right. So he came out of the book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 19. Bishop started off by stating that it is important to understand that most of our focus, or what we see as important, such as houses, cars, and the money that we make, God calls them things. This is because what we focus on before we come to know the Lord don't have any internal value. So God refers to these things as temporary.
Yeah.
As we learn in Matthew chapter 6, Jesus begins to give us direction and help when it comes to our focus, but not to diminish the natural importance of earthly things. He's attempting to help us discern the difference in importance. Jesus is trying to help us understand that there are some things that are different in importance. For example, he says that there are earthly treasures and heavenly treasures, which is a difference in importance. Jesus says to choose wisely because your choice reveals Where your heart treasure is the positive. Where your heart's treasure is reveals to God where you want to end up and who you want to end up with. So you guys know the first question as always. What are your thoughts of this additional, segment, this additional layer of this, especially where your heart's treasure lays?
Yeah, yeah. Off the bat, because I had to watch it twice because there's so much in there. But the greatest thing that God has given us is free will, freedom of choice. So I found it to be, ironic that the name of this was choice, and it's a test of our heart. Where are we heart wise in our heart posture towards God? What are we holding dear to us when He's asking for us to give or to release it, or to just plainly just walk out of it and let it go. It's not always financial. It could be in other situations. So initially, as soon as I heard choice, I was just like you, like, oh boy. So, as he continued to go, I was just like, all right, Bishop, I see where you're taking this.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Anyone who wants to go next? Sorry, I'm trying to repost and share. I'm telling her I didn't even share it yet. But go ahead. Since Deb, do you want to go next?
Yeah, I'll piggyback a little bit off of what Ann said. I think a lot of times we forget that we have choices, and the fact that we can sometimes, because we forget that we have a choice, we just go with stuff, and we just allow things to happen and, find faults in different things or in different people or in God. And it's like, you had the power to choose what you wanted to, what your outcome, like like you said, God gives us free will. But it's up to us to listen to His word and His discernment in order to use that free will to make the best choice for ourselves. So, but I think we sometimes forget that we have choice, and then that's when blame and fault and all that type of stuff come in.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for what is to come as far as the word and how we continue to move in it, because I think that is something that's so crucial, and the fact that you can be so indecisive. So yeah, that's all I have to say.
I like that. Sister Mai.
No, I think it's great. I think, as people, and dare I say as Christians, we like to present one way, and that, okay, well, I'll leave it there. But I think on the real, are our choices really showing, because actions speak louder than words, are our choices and our actions really, showing where our heart is and where our priority is.
Right.
So I think every single time Bishop says something, it really makes you reflect and think, am I doing this?
Right. And when I was hearing her sermon this week, it made me think of something my mom always says. She says, don't just say you love me, show me that you love me, right? Your actions should really speak and where your heart lies. So I don't want you to say, you can say all day long, do you love me? But do you actually love me by what you do? Go ahead, Rev. I see that smile. What you got for us, Rev?
No, we just stay in the word, right? We all know in Joshua 24 that, he comes real direct and says, choose this day who you're going to serve, right? Whether you're going to serve the gods that your father served, or whether you're going to serve those on the other side of the flood. But as for me and my house, we're going to serve the Lord. And that's a pretty bold statement in today's society, because there's so many things that are pulling folks different kinds of ways, right?
Yeah.
But then once we're able to make that choice, and then we're actually able to depend on the promises of God. Everything that He says in His word for us, it's in that promise after promise after promise. Seek ye first, if you confess your sins, if if you believe in that heart, all and over and over and over and over, the promises come when we are able to, choose Him. But it doesn't mean it's easy, right? I mean, we all have choices. Scientists would say we make 35,000 choices a day. When you get up, you can put your left foot down and your right foot down. You're gonna go right, you're gonna go left. You put your left leg in, your right leg in. We make choices over and over and over and over, and there's a fair percentage of them that are wrong. But life and every day is full of choices, lots of choices.
Right. And you bring up a great point about that is like the central theme. I think of it is like, where are your choices? What choices are you making? Because those choices really dictate how you move on in kingdom and stuff like that. So, Brad, can you talk more about those choices as you're continuing your walk with? I feel like the choices that we make after we get to know the Lord and we're reborn and everything, I think they're harder than the choices that we had to make before we were saved, right? So
it's easy. It's easy before you get saved. I think as with the perfection of God, there's the fallacy of man, right? So I have to know that I'm gonna make some bad choices. But if the top choice that I've made is the right choice, those bad choices will be taken care of.
Right.
I don't think you're going to make all the right choices, because we're not. We're not going to make all the right choices. Know that there will be times we don't make the right choice, but God is faithful, and He's just, and He loves us, and He's sovereign, and He's merciful. That He's going to allow us, as long as we make Him our first choice. He knows we're going to make some bad choices, which is why Jesus went and did what He did, right?
Right? Come on now.
Can I add?
Go ahead, please.
There's a I don't know if it's a study or something, but nowadays we're more unhappy because we have so many options and so many choices. And so I think about when Bishop always says instruction is so simple. God's instruction is always so simple, but the amount, it's we make so many, we have so many options available, but if we actually pinpoint down to the good or the good and bad, you know what I mean? There's kind of no gray areas. Either this is a good choice or it's a bad choice,
Right.
But that middle ground of when people like to lay in that gray area, it's well, this is kind of, I'm not gonna get too much trouble, you know what I mean?
Right.
So we end up driving ourselves crazy and moving ourselves away further from God by not just simply doing following His instruction and choosing the thing that He's telling us to do. It's I'm literally giving you the manual. You have the choice to go up the opposite way, but I'm giving it to you. So I just think that is so interesting, because the simplicity of it all, and we literally, Bishop says it, Lauryn Hill has said it, we all made it. We complicate things when we can literally just our lives can be so much easier if we just do what we know is true. So I'm gonna put myself back on.
No, that's good. No, we just always have to be so difficult, right?
Make it harder on ourselves.
Right. So Bishop said righteousness is not just what you do. Righteousness is who we are in God. Religious people are generally slaves to the blessing they receive. They are generally servants to the things that God gives them. They turn the things that God gives from blessings into curses. This is because a religious person's relationship development can be hindered by their focus on the material. Their focus shifts from the God that gave to what God has given. A religious person is one who gives the thing he or she has given more honor than he or she has give the God who gave it. So those people with religious spirits are slaves to the material. They have submitted to the master of greed. The spirit will cause a believer to fail in his or her service to the real master, Jesus Christ. Disobedience, greed, and jealousy all have the potential to turn an unguarded Christian's heart of a believer. So, we're about to get into some things here. I want to hear, what are your thoughts about people giving more honor to things that they have been blessed with than the one that blessed them with it?
All you gotta do is have God take something away.
Yeah, I was about to say
real quick.
How to fix it. Because it's about staying humble.
Yeah.
Even when He gives it to you, not being too, as the Bible says, was it airy or proud about you're thinking it's your accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when it's really not your accomplishment. It's
Mhm.
God has given you. It's the blessing that's on you. You know, it's His grace and His mercy that has allowed you to get what you have, and to also keep what you have. If we learn from Job, the Lord gives, and the Lord takes away.
Yeah.
So you know, we have to be careful. I think you know, it's just a when you take your eyes off of God and it's on, and then you focus on you. That's when you get in the most trouble. You know, you make that car an idol. You make
Yeah.
that job an idol. You
Yeah.
know, you make the business an idol. You know, and versus, and you worship that versus worshiping God
Mhm.
over that. You know, so yeah.
I like that. And I think it also, when you think about it, like God, you know, blesses us with houses. He blesses us with the jobs. He blesses us with the cars. But when you start abusing that as well, like if you're not taking care of that house that God blessed you with,
Yeah.
or you're not taking care of that car that God blessed you with, if you're not doing what you need to do and say that you were going to do on that job, God will take that away, right? So
Absolutely.
what else are your feelings about this? About, you know, putting our honor in the wrong places other than, you know, giving our honor to God.
I think he pretty much said it. Like once we step away from God, and like the book says to seek first. So once God becomes second in anything, it's like, oh no, it has to go. You know,
Right.
no matter how beautiful no matter how beautiful that thing was, or that situation was, or that person was, doesn't matter what it was. If it now takes God's space,
Yeah.
it's gonna get booted, or it's gonna get or God will show you that it's not what it seems. Like he'll
Mhm.
start to I don't know how to put it. Like put a little, I don't know how to put it, but start to make it not as, take the rose-colored glasses off.
All that glitter isn't gold. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I couldn't get my words together. I'm sorry.
You got it.
You got it. You got it.
It starts to take the high of it away. And
Yeah.
and
I
when
think.
go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I think you start to realize that is not satisfying you.
Right.
There's like a want and a hunger for something, and you're looking for it in these items.
Correct.
Mhm.
But you're not seeking for it in the right place, which is God.
Yeah.
Right. I like that.
Only He can satisfy.
Da, 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 da. So, what God means by the term slave is to be in a position of a servant and behave accordingly. Bishop taught us that Jesus says that you cannot serve or be in a committed relationship with God and mammon, which is a spirit that is not God. You will choose God, or you will reject God, or you will love God, or you will choose, or your choice will show that you love God less than mammon. Bishop asked the question, where and what spirit have you committed your treasures? Which means, to whom or what spirit have you committed your heart? So let me ask you guys, we learned about being a servant and everything. And I feel like there's a lot of people that may say, okay, I'm serving, but their behavior does not match their level of serving, right?
Mhm.
So do you feel like that is like a disconnect for people sometimes, where they can say they're a servant, but their behavior does not show? What do you guys feel like?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's called imposter syndrome.
Mhm.
You know, you
So
acting.
what would be an example of that? Saying you're a servant, but your behavior doesn't show.
Okay, so that would be okay. You walk around with your title, or you know, in your facility that you serve in,
Mhm.
but when it comes time to reveal your heart of servitude, so for instance, that would be, as for me being a deacon, they say, "Hey, I need you to go to the door and greet people."
Mhm.
If I got airy and said, "No, I'm not greeting anybody. I'm going to sit down," my
Mhm.
servanthood is out of whack.
Mhm.
Because as a leader, especially in our context,
Mhm.
it's, you know, what you're asked to do,
Mhm.
you do to the best of your ability.
Right.
You know, there is no no, in these type of situations. If you're asked
Right.
to go to the door, you go to the door. If you're asked
Mhm.
to hold the basket, you hold the basket.
Right.
If they need you to pick something up off the pulpit, get up there and pick it up off the pulpit.
Right.
Because it's all about the spirit of worship.
Right.
In our serving is worship. So
Right.
you can't be rebellious from as Des already said, a simple instruction. Because
Right.
you don't know what that instruction would open up. You could potentially be the first person that an unsaved person meets, and then they're like, oh, I want to meet this Jesus that gives them that joy.
Mhm.
Versus I'm not going to be there, so you block that person's blessing.
Yeah.
Mm.
And you sit down in service in the wrong spirit,
Mhm.
which makes you hard to the word and to worship, and you can hinder the flow.
Mhm.
That's right.
It's all connected. I kind of think of ministry and servanthood as the circle of life. It's the same.
Okay.
It's the same. So that's how I see it. Oh God.
No, but go ahead, Sister Maya.
That's how I agree. And like even to do so with the spirit of joyfulness, because
Yes.
all growing up, when our parents tell us to do something, we
Mm-mm.
do it, but we're doing
Mad.
it, kicking around and mad and everything,
Yeah.
right? We can't do that because, like you said, like that says a lot to people too, and how your spirit is, and you never know how that might set people off. So
Right. No, and I think it's especially up in when you come up in church and you are in leadership roles, it's so important to find that balance, knowing that you're doing this for the Lord. And I'm going to ask Reb, like, how did being in the leadership role and everything, how important it is to you to say, like, okay, like we're all human, we all have stuff going on and stuff like that, but how do you know, like, when it's time to be in that leadership role, how do you know, like, okay, let me put this to the side and serve what I need to do in this position. What I'm trying to say?
Yeah, no, I know what you're trying to say, and that's a great question.
It is.
We know the Bible talks about military and agriculture and politics and sports, as we've talked before. I take the sports analogy. The coach doesn't always do what's best for him. The coach does what's best for the team, right?
I like that.
And we have to, in leadership roles, know that there's going to be some expectations, some accountability, responsibility, availability that other folks aren't having to do, right? And aren't being asked to do. Now we're all called to the same walk, whether we're just saved or or the bishop, right? But in terms of the leadership capabilities, there's gonna be a different expectation if you've been chosen by leadership or by God to take on a certain role that some others may not have been called to do.
Yes. I like that. Sister Des, I'm sorry, I skipped right over. Did you want to add anything to that about? Because I feel like sometimes some people get how can I say this nice? Some people are getting in church and they've been there for a long time and they forget about that servant aspect when it is being in your particular ministry. Did you want to add to that, Sister Des?
I would just say it's all about being humble. And remember, like everyone has said, remembering who we're doing it for. We want to be Christ-like in all ways. So if you have to get down and wash somebody's feet, you can't be high and mighty. You can't sit and go, I'm not going to, do that because I'm in whatever state.
Right.
Not even just in the church, like in general, whatever you're doing, it's like, like you need to be humble enough and have a heart of humanity to help wherever it's necessary, and not be stuck up and have on your high horse. One thing that I saw now since COVID has happened, it was like a post. It was like the same be careful to people. The same people you disrespect on the way up is like the people that you're gonna see on your way back down, or something like that. And so I think about how many people, CEOs and executives and all these people who have lost their positions because they can't, just because of job loss and everything, who are like now working at Amazon or working at like Wawa or something, you know what I mean? So it's like, you have to be humble. You have to keep that grace about you, keep that humanity about you in all areas, because you never know where life is going to lead you, and where you might. And sometimes if your head is too far gone and you're too big in the clouds, that's exactly when God is going to humble you. So you don't want him to humble you. You humble yourself. So, yeah, that's all I had to share.
I like that.
Yeah, that's really good.
That is good. I like that. In our choosing, go ahead, Sis Mine. Go
I
ahead.
was gonna say it's interesting because I had like this daily devotional app, and the verse today was Matthew 6:1. It says, "Be careful not to practice your righteousness in front of others to be seen by them."
Mm-hmm.
And that's what this conversation was reminding me of. Like, be humble. Don't try to show your stuff and like, to be flashy and whatnot. God's blessing you, but you need to be humble about it.
Yeah.
I like that.
I know what you're thinking, Antoine. Bishop Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
Be humble. Sit down.
So Bishop
You millennials.
In our choosing, there's conviction by the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit gives us the ability to decide to do a thing. Giving based upon the spirit you choose to be led by includes judgment. Anything that you give, whether it be your time, talent, or treasure, it shall be given back to you according to Jesus Christ. Any righteous giving comes from the heart. A selfish heart is wicked or sinful, and we are born selfish, which is the reason why we need to be reborn. So the Spirit can change a selfish heart into a generous heart. God tells us that we have to guard our heart against grief when we give. This is because God's reaction is to bless all of your endeavors and everything you put your hand to if you give without grief. So something that we are always taught is the importance of time, talent, and treasure.
Yes, sir.
Right? So I really want to take this time to really talk about that right now, especially during this time. People may feel disconnected from the church. They may feel disconnected from their ministry. And they may say, well, how am I, supposed to feel connected? How am I still supposed to give my time, my talent, and my treasure? So I want to ask you guys, how important is that, sowing that time, talent, treasure during this time? And what can people do right now to sow their time, talent, and treasure?
Okay, you asked a loaded question, but I would say I'll answer the first part. What can you do in this time? There's a lot of things you can do. You can attend to your first ministry, which is your home, and make sure that everybody in your home is spiritually sound and, feeling the love of God, and you're checking with them and you're having a conversation with them, whether you're a man or a woman or a teenager or even, a great,
No, I'm saying that's good. That's really good, especially during this time.
Having those family moments that you normally probably wouldn't be able to have because you were running around, because you were at the church, you start to attend to those things. You spend more time in prayer, because that's going to ultimately keep you connected to the church, and also remember that the church is not the building, it's you, and it's the person next to you. It's the person that you'll see who else is a believer. So the more that we pray for one another, the more that we talk to one another, the more we'll feel connected, and then also serving each other virtually. You can do that.
Yes.
How? Call somebody up. Hey, man, I just want to pray with you. I want to check in with you.
That's good.
Do you have enough food? Do you need anything? I'm going to the store. These simple acts of kindness is our service. It doesn't have to be a grand thing where you have a mic in your hand, or you're dancing across the stage, or you're singing a song, or you're holding a program or whatever. It's these simple things.
Yes.
Because this is the test that God wants to know. Can you still serve when you don't have your essentials?
Ooh, go ahead.
What he said.
I think we need to raise an offering right now.
I think the Giveify needs to come up. I think the information needs to come up on the screen. That's so true, but I think that's so important. Like you said, your first ministry is at home, and I think just making sure that those that are close to you are hearing the word. I know whenever, I'm talking to a friend or something and they may be experiencing something that Bishop just talked about, I always refer them to, please go watch this broadcast. Like, I can't explain, like, I can give you my notes, I can read the notes that I do for the recap, but you have to hear it from the man of God, because he just speaks in a different way. I think that's so important during this time, because I feel like, and just being real, there's been moments during this pandemic where I felt a little shaky. My faith wasn't always there. Absolutely. And I needed to refill myself, or I needed to talk to someone. I needed to talk to my fresh family or someone. Sister Des and I always have those conversations, right? Like, you gotta be real sometimes. So I just love what you said, Deacon. Like, your first ministry is at home. Did anybody else want to add to this?
I think it's easy to get stuck in that mindset of church being a place, a building that you go to on Sundays, and then you leave and you have the rest of the week to do what you want. No, the church is a people. It's you, it's me, and reaching out to people, like Deacon Antoine said, and showing the love of Christ that way to people that you don't even know. So I think it's definitely important to, family first, and taking it outward. If you're walking down the street and you see someone who might be struggling, like, reach out and show, Christ. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, it's not just in those four walls. Ministry is everywhere.
Yep. I like that. Come on, ministry is everywhere. Are y'all catching the little sound bites? Ministry is your first home. Ministry is everywhere. I'm telling y'all better start quoting these. Hashtag. I like that. Sister Des, Rev, did you want to add to this about your time, talent, and treasure, how important it is right now, and how you can continue to give those things?
Well, we know that those things are very, very important. I will say, to piggyback off of what they said, and a bigger aspect, I guess, is to make sure you're checking in on your elders. The folks who, or not even just the elders, but people who may not have access to the ability to share virtually, or to connect in a different way. So, check in on them, maybe go, like Ann said, drop off some food, or, if you bring coats and clothes and blankets to somebody, ministry it's not just with choir. It's not just in a dance. It's not just, hospitality. Like, it's like Maya just said, it's literally everything and anything that we do. So holding the door for somebody, when you walk into the store, you could spark up a whole conversation with them just by simply showing your heart, just being kind, just having a heart of kindness, So just taking the time to really, really love God in a way so deeply that it literally starts to pour out of you. And you're not trying to show up. It's already there. You're not trying to be kind. You're not trying to be, it takes away that facade, that double-faced moment that you have. Like you mentioned, the question prior to this with, like, how can you be in ministry and then still, show up differently? It takes that away once you actually just start to genuinely have love and have that outpour in any and everything. And then once you start moving in that abundance, you, like at the very beginning, all of the stuff, those things don't matter, and nothing else matters but me touching heart to heart with whoever I'm touching heart to heart with. So yeah.
Come on, y'all come
that
back.
Was good. That was good. I that scripture that Maya read, I was sitting here thinking, the things that have impacted my life and my walk most in the largest way have been those things, whether it was a kind word, of active service, a helping hand that nobody saw except me and the person and God. And nobody ever knew about it except me and the person and God. Those things have impacted me more than anything externally that I've ever been done in service to God. It's not the external stuff. It's those things where you can have an impact on somebody and you don't have to get any recognition. You don't have to get any hate. All you're doing is something because it's the right thing to do.
Right.
And those things do something to my spirit that anything external would never, just doesn't do.
I love that. Bishop says you want to shift from grief to gratitude simply because there should be no grief when you bring back something that belongs to someone else. Grief is when I forget to bring it or do not bring what you expected. When God is dwelling in you, your generosity comes from the source in you, which is God. Gratitude, remembering where God brought us from, should change the heart of our giving. Gratitude changes your attitude about giving God your time, talent, and treasure. Gratitude is not a concept. Gratitude is only real gratitude if your actions are consistent with the meaning of the word. So, we've been talking about, time, talent, treasure, and I kind of feel like this question has already been answered, but there may be someone that's watching right now that, they say, I want to give my time, I want to give my talent, I want to give my treasures, but, maybe their treasures were cut down because of COVID, right? Or something happened last year where it took them away from the church, it took them away from giving, took them away from ministry. What words of encouragement would you give them right now, especially when it goes from, turning that grief into gratitude?
Bishop has said to us since this pandemic began that a time of waiting does not need to be a wasted time, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to come out of this thing. And if while we're in this situation of being, not being able to congregate together, we take that time to get closer to God, to do those things that are helping us to be better in what, God would have us to do. It's going to be of benefit to everyone around us through the process. And once we come out of this pandemic, so we can't thwart the opportunity that we've been given that most of us never will be given again. You think about, when this thing is over, it's back to it, right? So making sure that we fully utilize this opportunity to be ready for those opportunities that are going to come beyond. Because as Bishop also says, opportunities are mostly inconvenient, come at inconvenient time. So we can be training, whatever that training means. It could be your mind, could be your spirit, could be your body, could be all three, could be your presentation, just what it is. You don't want to come out of this thing worse than you went in. You don't want to come out of this thing the same, right? And if we can do that, we're helping everybody, including ourselves, right?
Yeah.
I like that. I love that. Anybody else want to add? Go ahead, Sis Des.
Okay. I think that a great way to figure out how to finesse whatever that talent is. And what I mean by that is, like, if you were singing in the choir, right? And that was your talent that you were giving, that was your gift that you were giving. That doesn't mean that it has to stop because we can't be in service or we can't be in the building. Maybe you start a YouTube channel and start singing. Maybe you go sing, at the local shelter outside. Something to keep that gift alive, keep that talent going, so that, like Rev just said, it's not wasted. Your time, your talent, your time is not wasted. So yeah, just figure out, like, and in the times that we're in right now, it is. Yes, we are, like, in trying times, but it's also it was mentioned earlier, this is the most creative time that we could have ever be in, because we have so much time. So you can really hone in to what it is that you are supposed to do and what makes you great, and if you didn't know what your gift or your talent was, you have the time to literally try different things and figure it out, so. And then once you do have, you find that talent, you offer that as your treasure to the people around you, So, yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, man.
Oh, go ahead.
Now, I was going to say another part of that is remembering that all is still well. The reason why I say that is because you're here. All is still well. But then take this time to really, really educate yourself. If you are lacking finances, this is the greatest time to learn about money. When you don't have it. When you don't have it, that's when you need to study it. Because what you begin to pour into yourself, you're going to attract. If you're learning about money, if you're learning about investments, if you're learning about saving, if you're learning about wise spending, that financial fast that we were on years ago, you rehash that one more time. you will start to develop the habits that when God brings that wealth back around, that wealth train back around, you'll know what to do with what he gives you. So that you're not just out here on Amazon spending hundreds of dollars on stuff that you're not even going to use, and you're not just spending your money on food, and all these different things, and having $1,000 worth of stuff in your closet when you still got debt. Making these logical, practical changes in your mindset is going to get God's attention, because he's going to be like, okay, I think they got it now. I can't bless you if you keep digging yourself deeper into a hole.
You're putting God first.
You got to put God first.
And that, just to piggyback off that, a good tool to do is, go back and watch Maximize Monday. Pastor Nick and Sister Maya, they talk about maximizing that time, that talent, them treasures. So, Sister Maya, do you want to talk about that a little bit, about what's going on in Maximize Monday?
Well, we've been talking about, maximizing our finances, exactly what Deacon Antoine says, making wise choices and making God the priority, make sure you're still tithing and you're saving and making sure that you're not just buying a pair of new shoes because you want them. Like,
right.
You can save for them, right? We're actually doing a panel talking more about this on Thursday at 7:30.
Awesome.
Make sure that you tune in. But something that I wanted to add was, to do the best that you can. I think sometimes it's easy to get stuck in that rut of what you can't do, that you just stop and you negate what you can do. So for time, take an hour, wake up in the morning and spend that time with Christ, do a devotional, read your Bible, pray. Do what you can. Talent, like Sister Desiree just said, you can't sing in the choir, start a YouTube page, and use that talent that way to bless and to touch and reach people. And then of course your treasure, you might not be able to sow, all that you want to sow, but do what you can and do it wholeheartedly. And I think that is what God sees and what he recognizes, and allows the opportunity for more to come from it.
Yeah.
I like that.
Real quick. I was about to say, so, because when you said do the best that you can, I don't know who this is for the finances, but somebody's like tugging on me. But, 2 mites in the eyes of Jesus, when you give it to him, is just as crazy as amount as 200. If you give him what you have, he'll multiply that thing. If you really trust him with it, and don't give it to him and be like, don't do it like that. Give it to him with say, this is all that I have, but all that I have, I give unto you. And you continue to do that. He will bless you. And I'm speaking from experience. I wasn't sowing what I wanted to sow for years, but then I started sowing out of gratefulness and out of what I had. And God began to multiply that thing. So now I look back and I can look at my sowing record and I'm like, whoa, I gave that much out. And that's not even accounting the many blessings that I probably just gave people through Cash App or in cash, or I heard you were struggling here, those kind of things, so God is faithful, just do it the right way and in the right heart.
Come on, Recap team. Y'all came back strong. So we learned that the mammoth equals wealth, riches, and material things. Mammoth is a Syrian god of riches, and Jesus lets us know that this mammoth spirit has a spirit. I'm sorry, this mammoth has a spirit. The spirit of mammoth leads you to depend on money instead of God. The focus of your heart becomes the things that you can produce with your hands and some of the things that God has provided. Your heart becomes focused on what is provided rather than the provider. Mammon is an arrogant spirit looking for servants and wants to rule. If the mammoth is the Syrian god, then that means mammoth is the spirit of Antichrist. So panel, we were introduced to this thing. I'm sure Bishop's going to get into it more next week. But what were your thoughts about this spirit of Antichrist, this mammoth, when he broke it down like the Syrian god and came from Babylon and the top? I was too done. So what were your initial thoughts about this this arrogant spirit, this spirit of Antichrist that equals to wealth, riches, and material things? What were you guys thinking when Bishop revealed this to us?
I never knew. That's all I can say. I never knew. I
Right. It was something new to me. I was like, wait. And Bishop gonna give us the breakdown and everything. And I was just like, wow, that's crazy. Because we're our belief and us relying on God, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like us relying on the things that God provided. So when you think about it, actually is the spirit of Antichrist. Anyone else have opinion about it? Want to talk about? Because I know Bishop's going to talk about it more next week.
You never knew. I never thought of it in that way.
Mm-hmm.
I think of
all over
as like a person, and you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So like, it's another one of those eye-opening revelations that Bishop gives so freely.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So when you decide that you want to serve this mammoth spirit, you start to believe that you cannot buy nor sell without mammoth spirit. This mammoth spirit wants to replace God as your provider. Mammoth wants you to change your focus, move away from God, and start obeying what mammoth tells you to do, which is nothing but the wisdom of the Antichrist. Money does not help people. God helps people. In the kingdom of God, your money can fix it. If your money can fix it, then it's not a real problem. Money does talk because it has a spirit, but you decide and choose the voice of your money. Money is neutral until you give it a voice. So, panel, like I always say, are there any final thoughts, comments about the sermon, about money being neutral and you give it a voice? Any final words?
Let's say your money is what you make it. So I can't wait to hear more.
Go ahead, Sister Des.
No, I was just gonna say I was in a workshop this past weekend, and I'll just give a quick example. So it was like do, have, be, right? And so what you have is like a goal. What you do is what you got to do, and then what you be is what you'll be once you finish that goal, right? So if I want to, my goal is to write a book. What I have to do is start writing. What I'll be is happy once I wrote it, right?
Mm.
If we take the goal away and just be happy, take the money away and just be in the purpose, that like the money's gonna come. We don't need that. Like we don't need to rely on that side of it. Things are gonna happen. Things are gonna come. If we already stand in, if we stand in our purpose, stand in our grace, stand in the blessings already, like people like to call it, worldly people like to call it manifesting. But like when I already know who I am. I already know where I stand. I already know what God is going to do for me.
Yeah.
There's nothing that this money is going to do. It can't take or give anything that God can. This spirit can't take or give anything that God can do or can be or give me. So, yeah. I was like, I didn't know where else to go with that. But like,
there we go.
We might repeat that on Friday too.
Yeah, I think you summarized that well.
I love that.
Said. That was well said.
Rev, any final thoughts, Rev, of this additional layer to shifting the needle?
Hey, well, always good to be with y'all, and I think we just need to put our seatbelts on because Bishop's going to blast this one out the park, and we just keep living this thing and know that we've all suffered a loss, whether it's of money, of something, of heart, of God is the one that sustains. The money hasn't sustained me. You all know plenty of people that are happy and they broke.
Yeah.
Plenty of people that got money and they're
miserable.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
I've seen it, I've lived it, and so just put everything in its proper perspective, really, and don't have this sense of entitlement that you deserve stuff. Just let the love of God and the joy of our Savior flow throughout us, and everything else is going to be just all right.
I like that. And, lucky for you guys that are tuning in, we are going to do a rebroadcast of this sermon. All right. It's going to come right up in like 30 minutes. So get your, your dinner ready, warm it up, or if you're still cooking, hurry up, save the dishes for after the sermon. But we want you guys to tune in because, this recap, we love recap and we love coming on here and, adding our spin to it. But, this is just, come on, recap. Y'all ready? This is just a little, you see how this is a little bit of what we are fed. And like I said, we can talk about it all day long, but Bishop does an amazing job each and every Sunday of how he delivers it and how he teaches it to us. So please, and there's other, scriptures that he threw in the sermon as well. So we want you guys to go back and watch it. It's coming on at 7:00. But, with that as well, we also have so much coming up this week and we want you guys to stay tuned, right? So of course, like we do each and every Tuesday, we do have a ministry panel. This week, it is the Real Men Talk Men's Safe House Ministry. So I need all my men to come on out Tuesday at 7 p.m. Make sure you are sharing it. It's still Transforming Lives Month. Also, Wednesday, we have Word Impact Gathering. As I say each and every time, we get fed on Sunday and we get fed on Wednesday. So please make sure you come back and watch with us. Bishop and Pastor Nick are in a new series for this month, center around prayer for Word Impact. So we want you guys to please share and worship with us at 7 p.m. on Wednesday. Thursday, maximizing your finances, right? Sister Maya gave you a little taste of what we are going to get on Thursday. So we want you guys to come back at 7:30 p.m. Eastern and join us for that panel. And then on Saturday, we have On Point Radio as always each week, 9 a.m., as well as Emerging Worship Saturday at 6 p.m. with Encounter Services on Sunday, 8 and 11 o'clock with our Engage Live in between at 9:45 with that discussion. Shout out to Sister Jody and Sister Kia. Did an amazing job this week.
Yeah.
Playing that game with Bishop and Pastor Nick, I was cracking up. I want you guys to join in with us and Engage Live, as well as the Best of Bethany on Sunday at 7 p.m. And then also, we do have a special announcement for all of our millennials, but I'm going to let Deacon Antoine introduce this one for you guys.
All right. So this Friday, the Fresh Young Adult Ministry is back. We are back with our first ever virtual event for the year. This is going to be our beginning of the year kickoff. We're calling it the virtual kickback, where we're all coming together virtually. We'll recap our year from 2020, discuss expectations for 2021, ministry and personal. We'll have some games, we'll have some fun, and then we'll let everybody enjoy their evening. And then we'll see you, next week or the following week for Fresh Friday on Facebook and YouTube.
Right.
So the virtual kickoff, this is a private
Zoom.
You need to register?
Yes. So if you want to be a part of this this kickoff, this is for the age groups 18 to 35. You can email us at fresh@gotobethany.com. That is fresh@gotobethany. Fresh is spelled FR3SH at gotobethany.com. That's FR3SH at gotobethany.com.
And look, it's going to be fun, having fun with our Fresh family. Too bad, usually at our Fresh events, I bring the pretzel tray. Can't bring it this time.
I know.
But no, I did forget. I want to shout out Miss Roman. She's live. I love that interview, Miss Roman. I love seeing you on the Engage Live. Shout out to you. That was an amazing interview. You did such an amazing job. So I just saw her in the comments. So I wanted to shout her out. You did an amazing job, Ms. Roman. Deacon Antoine, please let her know in person again how excited we were to have her Engage Live as well. But
I love that.
It was beautiful. I love that. I love when we, interact with those that are interacting with us online and everything. It's always a good time. I love you guys.
Like, it was just a perfect example, for Transforming Lives Month.
Yes.
You don't have to preach and hit people beside the head with the Bible. You just be and let your actions and your character be an example of how Christ can transform lives.
And I love how she said the church found her. I love that. I love that. I was just like, that's beautiful. But no, we want to shout out you, Miss Roman. And if you guys want to be a part of, anything, any ministry, even though we are shut down physically, our ministries are still strong. So please visit the Connections Church or Bethany's Connections, or let us know, if you want to join a social media team, and, let us know. Email us at social@go2bethany.com. Again, social@go2bethany.com. And like I said, again, it's Transforming Lives Month. Make sure you still are inviting people to join us all week this week, as well as wishing Bishop a happy birthday on every panel that you see him on this week. I don't care. Say it on Men's Ministry, say it on Thursday, say it at Word Impact, say it on Engage next Sunday. We want to show the man of God that we love him and we appreciate him. Panel each and every time. You do an amazing job. Thank you guys for just being so honest and so real and always having a good time with us.
Yeah, man.
So Bethany
Thank you,
family.
Kevin.
Oh, anytime. Blessings. So Bethany family, we love you guys. Please stay tuned to all the content that's coming out this week, and we will see you next week at 5:30 on Monday. Be blessed, Bethany fam.
Bye, guys.